Welcome to Calming Harp, the sounds of David's Psalms. I'm glad you've joined us for this brief moment we share together. I will be playing some of the music that has been brought out of the Psalms. My name is Steve Rees. I play the harp, and over the last several years I've been bringing the sounds of David's Psalms into recordings. You can find a lot of my music on my website, www.calmingharp.com. I have CDs available and MP3s. And you can go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube and then type in Peregrinati, Peregrinnatti, you will find hours of beautiful harp music that you can just play in the background and be calmed with the music that David may have played for his sheep at one time or another. So as we share this half hour, join me and enjoy the sounds of David's harp. Well, once again, good morning. Looking outside, and apparently we have a tropical storm off our coast in the Gulf of Mexico, and they've named it Arlene. So they're telling us we're probably going to get some rain out of that today here in Florida. So we are still here in Florida with Shirley's dad. He's doing better, and we thank you for all your prayers. Many of you have written me that you are praying, and it was great. Yesterday we were at the the wound care center, and the doctor said his wounds had closed 30% just in a week. So she said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So that's good news. And on Wednesday, he actually walked 100 feet, had to rest 3 times, but that's okay. He made it 100 feet. So that's, it's amazing how monumental things become when you're pared down and you're severely limited, and you begin to appreciate what we take so much for granted, just being able to walk 100 feet. Anyway, things are progressing, and we are thankful to our Heavenly Father for all of what's happening. So this week I would like to concentrate on Psalm 27, and it's part of why I come to Psalm 27. I about a year and a half ago we were invited to give a talk over in Colorado Springs at a church called Church on the Way, I think is what it's called, at Chapel Hill. And Steve Holt is the pastor there, and he sends out these little thought-provoking ideas once in a while. And this time he asked his wife Liz to write this one. And so I'm going to quote some from her and give some of my ideas about what she's saying as well. She entitled it, There Is a House, Psalm 27. And it starts out, there is a house which supplies surprising interventions. Israel's most famous king, the psalmist David, spoke of this house. He wrote, one thing I have desired from our Heavenly Father, that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of our Adonai, the Lord, forever, all the days of my life. God of the universe dwells in his house. The God of this house has a lot of free time to spend with us. It is as if he's just waiting to open the front door for us when we knock, to welcome us in, to show us a comfortable seat, to pour us a favorite drink, to listen to our unfiltered and sometimes crazy thoughts, and then offer a palatable dose of his own infallible wisdom. These are the surprising interventions. In verse 5, we find that he offers us a hiding place. He says that he will lift us up above our enemies. And eventually this lifting with exuberant, joyful songs, verse 6. We've been smeared all over with a lot of the stuff that the world keeps throwing at us. And David confides that sometimes the grief and condemnation came from his own family members. But this dark cocoon of family hurt would give way to super nurturing in verse 10. And then lies the directions for our life beyond his expectations. He finds that those who will intentionally oppose him would try to make his journey crooked and harmful, but when he came into the house, all of that confusion is left behind. And then Liz went on to give a story about what had taken place in her life of a severe testing that she went through, and I won't go through that because I know all of us, let me just say all of us, at one time or another, have severe testing. Her testing was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning with a broken pipe and flooding all over. And by sundown, she had already been tested severely. So what did she do? Well, she went into the house of the Lord. And when we go into the house of the Lord, one of the things we do is we contemplate the beauty of his holiness. We are distracted from the cares of this world and the challenges being thrown at us, and we are allowed to come into his presence and concentrate on him, on his beauty, on his creative power, on his everything that he's done for us in the past, and extrapolate all of that into what he's going to be doing for us in the present. And then finally glorify him in what we know he will be doing for us in the future. And then David says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he will strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord, in verse 14. I'm going to play Psalm 27 that I brought out of the chord progressions from the Hebrew text. And then I'm going to read Psalm 27 through and then have some comments to close out with. But in the meantime, right now, sit back and enjoy the music on the harp from Psalm 27. So that is the music from Psalm 27. And the church, Steve and Liz, is The Road at Chapel Hill in Colorado Springs. And if you ever get close there, I would highly recommend that you go and enjoy their fellowship. A lot of wisdom comes from Steve. He's written several books, and I would just encourage you to, at some point, if you ever find yourself in that area, to stop by. Anyway, moving on to read Psalm. I'm going to read out of the English Standard Version. Of David, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. One thing I have asked of Yahweh, and that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of my heavenly Father all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of Yahweh, and to inquire in his temple. For he shall hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me. And I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and make melody to Yahweh. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. You have said, seek my face. My heart says to you, your face, O Yahweh, I will seek. Hide not your face from me. Turn not your servant away in anger. O you who have been my help, cast me not off. Forsake me not, O God of my salvation. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but Yahweh will take me in. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Give me not up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen up against me, and they breathe out violence. I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of Yahweh in the land of the living. Wait for Yahweh. Be strong, chazak, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. That is Psalm 27. That is David proclaiming his trust in his Heavenly Father, no matter what things are looking like. I know I've gone to Psalm 27 before, but I just wanted to come back to it again this time and share again the music of the Psalms and share some of Liz's thoughts, because I thought she was just very appropriate. And it was a great reminder for me. It came in the middle of a week where sometimes when you just are doing the same thing day by day and it's for somebody else and it's going slow and you just wonder, is this ever going to end? Sometimes you just have to be reminded that in the middle of it all, your Heavenly Father has not forgotten you. He has given you, and I'm just talking for myself right now, I'm just being honest with y'all. When He gives you a task, sometimes you don't even understand why you're in the middle of it. Sometimes you don't even understand why it was given to you. You don't understand why it's taking so long. You don't understand so much of putting one foot in front of the other, just getting through the day and then waking up the next day and doing the same thing. And I know many of you are experiencing that and have experienced that for a long time. But I just want this to be an encouragement to you, to myself, to those you may choose to share this with, that our Heavenly Father has not forgotten us. He is that house that we can open the doors and go into and shut out the world when we need to. I remember reading a small book by Abraham Heschel. It was called The Sabbath. And in that book, he made a point, and I just have always clung on to it as a reminder to myself, and I want to share it with you all today. Many religions have temples and tabernacles and places which you would call a place in space, a space carved out that has beautiful windows and pews and altars and decorations and all kinds of things. And you open a door to that place in space and go inside and shut those doors and have your time of contemplation, of worship, whatever you go in there for, to listen to a sermon, whatever. But what our Heavenly Father designed in the very beginning, even in the first day of creation, on the final day, the seventh day, it says He set aside the work and He rested. Now, I read an article, was God cosmically pooped that He had to rest? Oh man, I'm so tired from doing all of this. Or was there something else He had in mind? And I believe there was something else. What our Heavenly Father was doing was He was creating a temple in time. He was setting apart a time, 1/7 of the whole week, a 24-hour period in which, being a temple, we could open up the doors of this place in time and step inside of this temple of time and close the doors of this temple in time and shut out the world behind us and all of its chaos and all of its toxicity and all of its everything that's in so many places. So now there's great things in the world too. There's beauty. But at the same time, in that temple of time, we can continue to observe the beauty. But in that place of time, we can concentrate our thoughts and hearts and minds on the beauty of holiness, the beauty of our Heavenly Father, the beauty of everything that He's created, the beauty of how He has carried us through all of the experiences of our life, and how even this very day that we enter into that temple, He has continued to sustain us and provide for us. And so we close those doors to the world, and we open up our hearts and minds and sight and vision to our Heavenly Father and make Him the focus of that 24-hour period. That is the difference between our Heavenly Father's temple of time and the various world temples that we see around the world. Many of them are beautiful. I'm not saying that these temples are not wonderful and good places to go. But if we can maintain in our hearts and minds this idea of stepping aside in time, stepping aside from the world, giving ourselves this place, this house of our Heavenly Father, where we can be nurtured, where we can be detoxed, where we can rest. Rest, what a wonderful word. Rest in His love for us, rest in His caring for us, rest in His provision for us. If we can come into that place once a week and rejuvenate, restore, reinvigorate, get a clear vision, reset our sights, so that as we go back into the world, as we step out of that temple, we can be ready for another week of the tasks that he has given us to do. So as we all enter this rest for 24 hours and then step into the week, I pray that you will step in rejuvenated. So I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Stay tuned, as I say. Little pun. I have many more songs to share with you. I have more to share about how this all comes together. And I pray that you will share and help people, especially those you see stressed, especially in these times that we're going through. Bring people to this calming and this peace and this rest that this beautiful music of the Psalms of David brings to each of our lives. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you next week. Many, many blessings to you all today.